So wildlife photography can be tough, it can be difficult, especially in Scotland, spending time up on the high mountains waiting and watching for that elusive subject to come out and maybe get a few good photos. But it can also be good fun. So this is just coming up to Christmas and I have a little project set up here, and the idea is to get pictures of birds sitting on a holly wreath. So the first job was to make the wreath. So me and my family set off and went for a nice walk, and then came back here and started doing some crafts. So I'm going to be doing some Christmassy bird photography. So what we're going to do is go along and get some stuff to make a wreath. So I've got Harry behind me, Bromley the dog, who's a border dog with us. So he's a trainee guide dog that we look after at weekends and evenings. So we're going to go and see if we can find some good things to make a nice Christmas wreath. So we're at Balguys, just near Forfar. This is somewhere that I'll feature in the diaries in the future, because behind me is a tree. This is Harry. There's a tree on the island, and each year there's a battle takes place there between the geese that try to steal the osprey's nest and the ospreys that don't want their nest stealing. So this is something that I'm looking to come back and follow back in sort of April time. This is my new friend. A woolly muncher. Job will be to look after the ground here and make sure it doesn't get too overgrown. Hello. Alright, so we've done the two main wreaths, one for ourselves and one for a friend, and now I'm making the one for the birds. So I made this. This is a small ring, much smaller, because if you did the full size one the bird would be dwarfed. And I've used a glue gun to put this small piece of plastic on the front, which I'm then going to fill with mealworms so that the robins, blackbirds, sparrows, blue tits can sit here, peck away, and I can take some fairly cliche twee photos, but you know, good fun. So I'm going to start off by doing is working. Actually no, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a few extra loops around this. So I'm just going to tie these to hopefully make it a bit more stable. This will also give me something to push the vegetation into. This is a bit of conifer from my own garden. A bit of holly from my own garden as well. Okay, so what I'm now going to do is start working the vegetation out in a spiral. Spiral? Kind of. Just push this in. Right, so now that's done, I'm going to tie this string off at the bottom here. And the reason I'm using string is because I don't really have enough ribbon, and I find the string secures it better. Okay, so basically just wrap the vegetation with the string quite loosely. When you get to the end, tie that bit off. So you know the basic wreath. You can start just tidying things up a little bit, but it should be quite loose. It shouldn't be that sort of regimented. It's supposed to be a wreath. Now the important bit is down here. So this is where the bird food is going to go. Now really what I should have done, tip for myself, is I should really have put a hole in this to let any rainwater get out. So as I say, it's a fairly simple wreath. Just trying to tuck some of the bits away here. To be honest, I can just trim them as well. Okay, so the next stage is to wrap the ribbon around, hopefully trying to cover up as much of the string as possible. Now, because I'm really short of ribbon, I'm actually going to leave that in there, then I'm going to glue gun it. Just stick it down. So that's the basic design. Now I've got a few sprigs of holly which can be sort of added to strategic places. I don't have much. So maybe if I just do a piece here, just on the sides. Yeah, that will probably do. And now I'm going to turn on the glue gun. So let that get warmed up. So I know there'll be many purists out there who consider this to be sacrilege, wildlife photography, making Christmas wreaths and getting robins to pose on it, but they're getting food. I'm getting some fun festive images. And I have to say, I'm a big fan of Christmas. I don't have any problem with this. So I'm going to enjoy. So this is the setup. Tied to this garden arch, pieces of string which hopefully will disappear into the white background, if not a little bit of Photoshop. This is where the food goes, and also here This is all the main feeder that brings them in, so this is the boring stuff but lots of it, and then the treats go in here. Mealworms. So I've arranged the camera onto this tripod, all set up perfectly in live view here, just as I want it, got the exposure right, checked it all off. It's just a case of waiting for the birds. Now I can be sat anywhere really because I'm using a remote release. I could even set it up with a infrared. Oh, caught it! Yay! I could even set it up with a sort of a laser or a PIR trigger, so I don't even have to be here at all. But it's quite nice to be able to see what's going on. The type of birds I'm mainly getting so far have been coal tits and blue tits, but I'm hoping for robins or blackbirds. And yesterday I even had a group of long-tailed tits, and I'd love to get a photo of a long-tailed tit on the wreath. The background is made up by my neighbour's white wall, which I've slightly overexposed so that I get that hikey image. The robin's close by. Come on, Robin, please. Come on. I can see him sat over on the fence at the moment, or her. Ah! Decided to have a fight instead. I'm going to be quiet now, although the sound of the birds out there is amazing. No, blackbird's come to me. Robin sat on a deer antler. Oh, that would have been a good photo anyway. Go on, Robin. The light is starting to fade at the moment, unfortunately. I'm still ISO 1250 and f6.3, so I've got a reasonable depth of field. I'm still getting 125th of a second, which is enough. Coal tit and a blue tit at once. See, it didn't need Photoshop. So that was a lovely little project. Really nice walk with the kids and the dog, and some nice crafts. And I'm starting to get a few images. It's never been great conditions when I've tried so far. The birds are, some of them are playing ball. I mean, the coal tits and the blue tits are really good, but I do want a robin, and it would be nice to get a blackbird, and you know, those long-tailed tits would be excellent. So this is one of the images that I've got so far, and just to quickly go through what I would do with this image. I should have overexposed a bit more, so I'll do that here. It's not the ideal, but I want that background to be pretty much blown out, or nearly blown out. So I'm going to take it as far as there. The other thing I'm going to do, I mean, it is Christmas, so I'm going to boost the reds, boost the greens, and then also I want to boost the chest of that blue tit, so I'm going to use this here and just increase that yellow a bit. Okay, done. The next thing I'll do is a bit of spot removal. So these pieces of string were always going to go whatever happened. So simply draw over them. That has a habit of putting that in slightly the wrong position, so this is the bit you're trying to get rid of. This is the bit it's copying from. Here it's clipped this, little bit of vegetation. So if I bring that down, no, I need to go the other way. So it's just a case of moving around until you get what you want disappeared. So that will do. There's a slight bit here, but I'll go back and deal with that later. Also, I noticed that my glue sticking hadn't been perfect, so I'm just going to remove this spot here. I'm just going to draw down there. Now Lightroom should try and find somewhere good to match it, and yeah, I'm quite happy with that. That looks nice. Yeah, you wouldn't know that was there, would you? While I'm here, I'll just get rid of this as well. Okay, as you'll have seen, the noise is quite bad on this, and that's partly due to this monitor. I've got a bigger monitor that I've been using as well, and things look a lot better on there, and you can control it far better. But I'm gonna reduce the noise a bit more first. So zoom in. Then you still want some texture. I'm reasonably happy with that. And then lastly, I'm going to do a very quick crop. So the image is a bit too far over to one side, so I'm just going to take a little bit off this side, balance it up, and for the moment that's my final image. So this is a project that I will carry on with, and just over Christmas and possibly beyond, see what I can get. Say you don't have to go any great distances, you can fit it in amongst, you know, even doing the cooking, put something in the oven, come back while you're making the Christmas dinner, take a few images and make sure you don't burn everything. But yeah, it's been really good. I hope you've had as good a year as you can in 2020. I hope 2021 is fantastic for us all. Lastly, just to say thank you for watching and a very happy Christmas. Thank you.